Hello, everyone. Okay, come on in. Oh, all right. Where's the cat going? Got the dog, cat. All right. Cat was just decided to lay over everything, and I wasn't being able to do anything. So now I can do stuff. Well, are you ready? I was reading some posts on other other people, other people's posts, and talking about this full moon. This full moon is really coming forth fast and furious, and they kind of poo-pooed the eclipses, which I thought, wow. I mean, the eclipses. I mean, they're pretty powerful. They're very transformational. They're about change, but the way that they're talking about this full moon, they a lot of them leave out certain components when they talk about things, and especially when it's like they're talking about Venus, and Venus being the dispositor of Libra, which is true. It's not in an opposition. I mean, it's in Pisces. But the thing is that what they didn't talk about was where Venus was, or where Venus is. And this, I feel, is very crucial. And Venus is with Saturn, and she's going to pass over Saturn, and then she's going to pass over him again. Now, this is very unpredictable energy, and especially when there's a Ceci quadrant going over to Pluto. And these are just unpredictable energies. There's some beautiful trines, and trines, about opening up headway with Mars. Awesome. But with that opening up, there is, when something opens up, there's still that there is this unpredictable energy that's coming in. And this is where people are going to find that they might be getting locked up in the swamp, or getting caught up in a swamp, and thinking that, like, I am the swamp monster. And this moon and this energies that are coming in, these frequencies that are coming in, is about the unpredictability. There's still a lot of Pisces energy. Pisces energy is longer and overreaching. It's vast. And with Neptune being in Aries, it wants to be the hero. It wants to be the one who comes in to save the day. Yet we're trudging through some crap right now, and everything's getting wrecked. But the things that are getting wrecked are things that are no longer needed. And that's what's freaking people out. It's that emotional damage. That's what my grandson says. Emotional damage. I love when he does that. He does it perfect. Anyways, there's all this emotional damage that people are feeling, or they think this is, it. And they don't need to be tripping out. There is unsettling of frequencies that are coming in and changing, and getting us to release, let go. And that releasing and letting go is like, holy crap, that's a lot. That's a lot. And whatever is being taken away is your highest good. Whatever is no longer serving you is for your highest good. Yet it's like everybody is wanting, it's just, I find people hilarious right now. People are wanting change. They're wanting something to change. But when it starts to happen, they're like, no, don't change that. I watch Chateau Diaries, and they have to. The thing is that they live in I'd say maybe 16th century chateau. I mean, there's many different variants, and every generation has put something new onto the landscape or changed things. And they're finding these beautiful structures and everything that are there. But then they're having to make decisions on, this is kind of an obstacle, but how can I get creative with this obstacle? How can I get creative with what is being sent before me? And where that's it. How are you getting creative? There's obstacles that are being sent. Are you freaking out and saying, "Oh my god," and emotional damage and life is just all freaky? It's like, no, how can I deal with this obstruction? How can I deal with it? For instance, and I'm going to go back to my Chateau Lalande, right? And in the chateau, they found the original fireplace in the kitchen. Now, their kitchen, they had a horrific thing that happened in the kitchen, a big flood from some pipes and everything. Anyways, so the kitchen had to be taken back to basically the bare bones, which is huge in a chateau, right? I mean, it's bad enough to being in a regular kitchen, but when you're in a chateau, there's just layers and layers of stuff that you didn't expect. Anyways, in doing that, they found the original um, fireplace, but they have a cooker in there that's a cooker that was put in, I think, in the 18th century. Beautiful cooker, and this cooker is the creme de la creme of the time. It still is. It's absolutely phenomenal. I think they still use the oven at times. They don't use the top part because you have to. I mean, it's a 17th century cooker, 18th century, yeah, 17th century cooker. So they can use the oven and stuff like that, but the top not so much. But the thing is that in order, if they wanted to use the fireplace, okay, so if you wanted to use the fireplace, then they would have to take out the cooker. But the cooker is just so beautiful, like they don't want to do that. And so they had to make a decision, and what their decision was, well, we're going to re-brick up that area, and then we're going so that we can have something flush working along. I mean, and that's what you said. There's, you find something, it's like, okay, is this really going to work for us in this time? We're not going to destroy it. We're going to just, um, brick it up and not use it, and then recreate what we do need, because we don't need that. That's something that is not going to be of service to us. And that's the whole thing. It's like some people take like, oh, well, I have to use this. This is mine. I have to, why would you brick it up? And it's like, because it's not of service to me. It's not in my alignment. It's not what I want to be doing. And a lot of people get angry at that. They don't want you to, well, you're going to ruin this. And it's like, no, this is like, we want to make sure that everything's in lineup. So because they're getting a bigger cooker there, because of the amount of because they're bed and breakfast, and they have very formal dinners and the whole works. But this is where you start to look at, where are my priorities? Where am I putting where am I putting my energy? Am I putting my energy into things that really don't need anymore, and it's time to brick them up and let them go? Or am I, wanting to force something to work, and then I have to take something that really is beautiful in my life out? And if I have to take something really beautiful in my life out, where am I going to put that? Like, that's something that really works for me. That's something that's real beautiful. I want to keep it. But I want to keep this old thing that has appeared in my life, that is, yeah, it's nice and everything, and it's cool, but is it for my highest good? Is it going to work with what I want to be doing in my life? And when we look at where Venus is with Saturn, Saturn is he's laws and he's orders, and he's all about bringing forth something new in many ways. I mean, Saturn can be the biggest dick in the planets, but this is what is not in your life anymore, and disconnect. How do you step forward from that? And this is like, it is shocking where the universe wants you to go, letting go of the attachment. This is your values. Some values that you might have said, well, this is what really matters, but it's time to move on. It's not aligned with you anymore. It doesn't work with you anymore. You've learned something totally new. And stepping into something totally new that you're just like, whoa, it's just mind-boggling, and it just sort of like blows you up. And this is where it's, you're going to be finding it's either money or relationships, or relationships and money. Money, could be today the markets. Told you, markets, whoop, everything's plummeting, everything's going crazy. Gold and silver isn't, because those are sustainable. Those are things of God. Those are things of the earth. They're sustainable. They're everlasting, right? So they're not going anywhere. But you see the volatility of what people put their value in. My value is in that stock market. That value is, but it's not sustaining for them. It's not sustaining for us. Yeah, understanding the market, doing your due diligence, and playing the long game is the way to go, to my understanding. I'm not a marketeer, but this is where, especially with the Venus and Saturn conjunct exact, and and they're in the caboose. Venus is in the caboose, and the leader of the train right now in that is Pluto. And Pluto, this is where things can get wonky, right? Pluto's death too, and resurrection, right? Saturn's just death. Like, he's a timekeeper, so he's going to put time on it and then say it's done. If you want to change that time, that's huge negotiation. Right? So I want to have a different timeline. I want to do it in a different way. Saturn is like, okay, you want to do that? That's huge negotiation. And this is where we have to look at what is self-sustaining in our life, because sometimes we want to do those changes, or think that we need to do those changes because we're having something else coming in, that it's like the Four of Cups, something else is coming in. I don't want that. I want to change it this way. And then we end up being the Five of Cups and crying over spilt milk, and not realizing there's something really beautiful there that can really take us to new heights. And we're just not willing to look at it or open our minds to it. And this is where, when we're reaching, and yeah, Mercury's gone forward, sort of, but it's not the kind of forwardness like, oh, thank God. It will in the next couple of days. You'll start feeling a little bit of a relief with him and that, but it's not going to happen right away. And that's because he's on the North Node, and the North Node wobbles. The North Node wobbles. It's not, sort of a fixed point. It kind of wobbles back and forth. So there is that instability when it comes to things and the information that comes in. So a lot of information that comes in can be where, okay, which direction? Is this the right direction? Or should I just wait a moment and allow and just think things over? And this is, with that Venus and Saturn, and it's very subdued. God has an amazing path forward for us all. And we're all at that start line. We're all at this start line, and he has an amazing path forward. But to do that path, to step forward in that path, it's like hard stuff, right? A blessing in disguise, where it's like we're thinking that that's not what I wanted, that's not what I ordered, but it's that blessing in disguise that's coming forward for us. And we want it to, again, we want it to be this Tiffany box. We want it to look this way. Yet we are finding that we are having to make decisions and be creative within our lives, because some things just aren't sustaining. They just don't work. It's just, we can't utilize it anymore. And this is where letting go is allowing us to go forward and not be stagnant. And that stagnating energy, thinking that all of that muck, we're thinking all this muck, this swamp muck, is who we are because we got muck on our face. No, go have a shower. You'll be fine. We're going forward. Is it going to be hard? Yeah, it's going to be hard. This is the grind. This is a grind. And putting your trust in God is going to help that grind be lesser. But it is going to be a grind because we're recreating something. The stock market crashing, things falling apart, places closing. Forever 41. I mean, we've lost Forever 41 here, or Forever 21 or whatever. Yeah, Forever 21. It's basically a lot of them are they're going to be basically all closed within the next few months. So we have that. We have, these are things that people, that are sort of thinking, oh, they're going to be sustainable. The Bay, we think that it's going to be sustainable. It's been there for 350 years. It's gone. Things that we put our, this is tried and true. It has to be there. Yet it's not. It's gone. We have to create something new, a new way of doing things, a new way of trading, a new way of communicating. And in doing that, this is where it's like subtle energies, overtones, and listening to that subtle energies, listening to those overtones, like it's these frequencies that are coming in that are transcending us to move forward in new heights. And that Mercury and Saturn doesn't give us that pop. We want a pop. We want everything to be poppity pop pop, but it's not giving us that pop. It's not giving us that jazz hands and that pizzazz, because we're in the grind. We're in the work, right? It's okay. It's good that you're clean. This is where we're at. But people don't want the grind. They don't want it because they haven't had to deal with the grind. It's been so easy. Right? We just went past back what 2008, the market crashing worse than 2008. Okay. We don't think that's going to affect us. Right? But it'll affect us in many ways. It's going to get us to relook, renegotiate, revalue what is important to us in our lives. And this is where you think like you're stuck in quicksand, but that's not true. Saturn is laws and rules and responsible values. That's what Saturn is, and he's in Pisces and he hates Pisces. Like this is one grumpy old Kronos sitting there saying, what the fuck am I in this like illusionary energy? Because he rules Aries, he's the co-ruler of Aquarius and the ruler of Capricorn. Those two signs are not airy fairy signs. Those two signs aren't like, ooh, look at this. No, it's like, this is the way I know it. I have it. Yes. Right? They understand that. They want the basis of doing things. Pisces is like, oh yeah, okay, we're out there, we're moving. I mean, I love my Pisceans. I mean, but you definitely need to give them a list. You definitely have to have some kind of structure in their life, or it's kind of like all over the place. And this is where, especially with this Aries energies, Aries is coming in to be the hero. Everybody wants a hero. It's that Neptune in Aries that brings in huge transformation and change, because it's starting a new age. It's starting in new vibrations. It's starting in a new transition. But it's not going to be an easy one. It's going to be one that we have to like, what do you want to create? How do you want to create it? Well, let's get down and get to work. And and you can no longer float through. You got to do the work. And that's the same way if you just want to float through, and especially when it comes to your spiritual life, and just think it's all unicorns and puff dolls. It's not it. It's the grind. It's showing up every day. It's giving yourself and surrendering and saying, which way do you want me to go? And trusting in that higher power, trusting in that newness that's coming in, and knowing that with little Mr. Mars is to create and helping us to learn to create. It is about clearing out and beginning to create. So it's starting, as I said, we're starting all at the same line, and it's letting go of what spirit wants and how that spirit wants, because the tsunami's coming in. And the tsunami, when it comes in, it is one that is not, it doesn't care. It's like, if you've ever watched it, how it recesses very quickly and then it comes in. And if you're not on high ground, and this is like, I'm talking in a metaphorical, spiritual sense, if you're not on that high ground, and that's not in an egotistical asshole way, it's on the high ground of being like, yeah, I'm on the high ground because I want to create something really good in my life and something that can be sustainable not only for myself but for others. I want to bring forth. That means doing your due diligence, being that person who is the example. Don't go, I can tell people like, yeah, these are great foods for you and stuff like that. And you know, I'm not exactly the best person when it comes to eating. I'm not. I love food. I love to eat. You know, uh, People tell me, McDonald's is bad. And I went, yeah, I had breakfast there. But then, and then I said to him, I like, the other part too is, well, I saw on TikTok that KFC does this and this. And I'm like, is that American or is that Canadian? Do your homework. That's part of the due diligence. Do your homework, right? American has a lot of laws that they can do a lot of shit to their food, where we do have a lot more restrictions here in Canada and even more in the States. I mean, in Europe. But, anyways, I digress. But this is like doing that due diligence of what it is and how you want to change and how you want to make that change. And stepping into spirit and stepping into the oneness with God is a way of bringing forth that transformation. It's that heart changed. You might have thought, this is what I do and this is how I always do it. But over time, how your heart can change, how your, eyes are open to new ideas, new ways of doing things. And it's pretty awesome. And you can be broken. You can be broken and fallen and everything else. But this again, it's like finding your way. It's finding your way and being with God. And it's in our messiness. It's in our, where we're feeling that we have to do it all. We have to dig ourselves out instead of doing the surrender, because we're thinking that we're in quicksand and we're not. And so we're trying to get out. And I guess the worst thing to do in quicksand is fight it, 'cause you go down faster. Ugh. I used to have nightmares when I was a kid about quicksand. Anyways, weird. I digress. But the thing is like looking at the things that are beautiful and that are working, and knowing that God is grace. And with the God's grace, we can change. We can move forward. We can do this. Right? It's like, which country was it? Was it Japan? Yeah, it was Japan. That, with the stock market, I think it was Japan. It was one of the Indian, I think it was, anyways, one of those countries. That, because they don't usually say too much, when it comes to the stock market or the trading, but they came in and they started to say, "Hey guys, calm down. Start thinking about what you're doing and think about where you want to go." And it's just like, that's a perfect message. So if you're freaking out over things, right? It's like, nah, you know what? Do your due diligence of what you need to do. So found that quite interesting. I brought out Earth Magic cards. These ones are Stephen Farmer, who actually used to be married to Doreen Virtue. And I remember when they divorced, and it wasn't a nice divorce. It wasn't really publicized. They somehow got to keep it out of the um, headlines. But one of the things, Stephen Farmer actually came to Calgary to the Body Soul Spirit Expo many moons ago, and it was really weird because he came into a shop just down the road here from me on 19th, and Soul Food Goods, and when he came in and stuff, he came in, it's like nobody would, I mean, he's, yeah, I mean, he's the Sean, but I mean, he wears this hat and stuff like that. And, some people recognized him right away. I didn't know who he was. So, but some, oh, Stephen Farmer and stuff and that. And they started chatting. And then somehow, someone was coming up and to buy Doreen Virtue, cards and stuff, because she was, she's like, everybody loves Doreen Virtue, but he's, and he didn't say, just look on his face, but then he just, when the person left, he goes, that's bittersweet. And because he's the one who helped her to do some of those cards and didn't get credit for it. And I guess when it came to the divorce, she took him for a ride and actually almost left him broke. Like, she was very, very scrupulous, I guess, in the divorce and stuff. And, and he even said, a sheep in wolf's clothing. And I kind of sort of, listening to what he said, and I understood that he was going through a divorce, and yes, he's upset and mad. But when he said sheep's in wolf clothing, I kind of like, yeah, that's kind of how I felt about her as well. Even though, I mean, I love her cards. Her cards are very nice, but I always felt like she was a sheep in wolf's clothing. Like, she wasn't the true person who she's trying to portray she was, right? And it was the only reason I sort of went with or got a lot of Doreen Virtue is that I found other people that I associated with were really into Doreen and loved Doreen. Some of them even went to her to become an angel practitioner thing. And but I always went back, like I usually always go back to my tarot. Like, it's always pulled me back in. The tarot has. And I felt, where it was, people have mentioned that, the tarot is scary. And I'm like, yeah, they're scary because they're life. They're life, right? Oracle cards, and I see a lot of people use oracle cards. I have a lot of oracle cards too. They're beautiful. But they're I don't know. I don't find them as depth as what a tarot card can. And even going further, what I love is doing tea leaf readings or coffee ground readings. I haven't done them in a long time, but I love doing them because they're even more in depth when you're doing them. And if you get somebody who's really good at knowing how to do a tea leaf reading, it's pretty cool. So, anyways, let's pull a card. Waterfall, effortless. So things can be very effortless if we allow them to be. If we allow them to be. Now, what does he say about the waterfall? You have come to the edge of your comfort zone and find yourself fighting to resist moving past that perceived perception of who you are, how you can be, and what you can be. Spirit is asking you to step beyond the edge and allow yourself to do so with ease rather than struggle. Yes, at times physical exertion is necessary. But when performed with fluidity and grace, even when the task seems daunting, you will find out the movement moves you effortlessly. Approach the present situation or relationships with awareness and grace. Do not try to make it effortless. That just creates more strain. The key word here is allow. There is not a time to fly, but to surrender to the will of spirit. Ow! Love it! And with that, we have a waterfall, and then we get a volcano. So we get the volcano coming in, and we want to allow for things to happen as everything's exploding around us. And that's how I feel. I think everything's just exploding around us, right? And we just have to allow this. We have to be patient with this all because it is volatile. Where are you? There you are, volcano. So, volatile time, unexpected changes, sometimes quite sudden and dramatic, are occurring in ways that you have absolutely no control over. These occurrences may be so powerful as to shake up what formerly thought of as the foundation of your security. So things are everything's being shook up. We got to allow that surrender with spirit to move us, so you truly have nothing to fear. There's nothing there to fear, but because it's something we're not used to. We haven't lived through this, right? You haven't lived through a time where you had to, have ration cards. You haven't lived in a time where there was war or children being, inscripted. We haven't lived through that really. And this is like we're entering into a time of huge change. Our surroundings are all changing. And so it also requires you to make adjustments quickly and not to cling to what was, but instead move forward and welcome with open arms. And through that, we got the spring equinox, which we just had. This is all about rebirthing. Rebirthing is all about surrendering, about allowing for things to change and moving into that direction. When I think of rebirthing, I think of birthing a child. And my third child, when she was being born, I ended up having, it's called a dry birth, because the embryonic fluid had leaked out, and there was no fluid, there's nothing there. And she was what they called OP, which means that she was turned the wrong way. And a lot of times, what they would have done is an emergency C-section. And so I agreed to take, was it Demerol? I don't know, Demerol, like 5 mils um, uh, with Gravol, because that stuff and any drugs make me sick. So, because I puke. Doesn't matter what the drug, heavy drugs and stuff just don't mix with me. Anyways, they gave it to me, but it was in allowing and surrendering to that, because I wasn't going to do it, because I wanted, a natural, perfect little birth. Because number 2 was really easy. He was like in it. He was like out. Where this one wasn't. And so was, allowing and surrendering, because it was different. It was different than the first. It was different than the second, right? So allowing for those changes to be. And this is where it's like when you're allowing, even in amongst your fear, to let it go, you're going to bring in the rebirthing. You're going to bring in that newness. And in having that beautiful newness is going to bring forth something that you didn't expect. Things will emerge and take shape and form in ways that you didn't think they would. But this is what we're moving through. This is what's happening. Right? And, sending out media break. Her phone is gone. But it's taking that time to make those changes. Full moon readings are going to come out this week. So they'll probably start coming out by Wednesday or so. So just check in your inboxes, from the middle on. And yeah, we'll see. Yeah. So everybody have a fabulous day, and may the Lord Almighty watch over and bless each and every one of you in all you say and all you be and all you do. It's going to be crazy. I mean, we are heading into these beautiful times, but there are times that are going to bring in such, where we're going to be like, what? And it's just like, allow, and you're going to find the peace and grace come through. So have a great one, everybody, and blessed be. Bye-bye.